Welcome back, everyone. We're diving into something a little different this time.
Oh,
Yeah, we're going way back. Ancient world.
okay.
Lots of drama, loyalty, big questions that honestly, we're still asking today. It
Intriguing.
is. We're looking at the first chapter of 2 Samuel.
2 Samuel. Part of a much bigger story, of course.
Right.
But this chapter, turning point for the Israelites.
So set the scene for us.
All right, so major battle just happened. King Saul, his son Jonathan, they're both dead,
Oh, wow.
leaves a power vacuum. And that's where our main guy, David, comes in.
Okay, so defeated army, dead king. Then we've got this Amalekite messenger.
Right.
Shows up, tells David he killed Saul, even brings Saul's crown and bracelet as proof.
Probably hoping for a reward.
Yeah, I was going to say. But
The text describes him, clothes torn, dirt on his head.
classic mourning imagery.
Exactly. But you gotta wonder, is it real grief?
Huh.
Or is this guy putting on a show?
Because
Because the Amalekites, they were enemies of the Israelites. Sworn enemies, so his motives,
suspect.
very suspect.
Yeah, makes you think. But before we get to that, what about David's reaction? I mean, this is the guy who was hunting him down, trying to kill him,
Yeah.
but he doesn't celebrate. He's devastated.
It's a fascinating glimpse into David's character, isn't it?
For sure.
On the one hand, it looks like respect for the king, acknowledging Saul's role, appointed by God.
Even though they had a pretty rocky relationship.
Incredibly fraught.
Yeah. So honoring the position, even if you don't love the person in it.
Exactly. But I wonder, was there genuine grief there too?
Oh, interesting.
They had history, right? And Saul's son, Jonathan, David's best friend, also killed in the battle.
So maybe it's not just about the kingship. Maybe it's personal, too.
Absolutely. There's deep personal loss there. You can feel it in David's lament for Saul and Jonathan. The Song of the Bow. Powerful stuff.
Yeah, I was just going to bring that up.
It speaks volumes about their bond, the depth of David's grief.
He even says about Jonathan, "Your love to me was wonderful, surpassing the love of women." Wow.
Right.
Strong words. So here we've got a leader grappling with, well, a lot. Respect for authority, personal loss, maybe even a sense of relief.
That the threat is gone.
Exactly. It's that nuanced portrayal of human emotion, the motivations, that makes this ancient story resonate.
It's real, right? Not black and white. Messy, like life.
Exactly. But it doesn't end there. David, in his grief, makes a shocking decision.
Go on.
He has the Amalekite messenger executed.
For killing Saul.
Yes.
Wow.
And here's where things get really interesting.
I bet.
Was it purely about the sanctity of life? Was there a political angle? Or maybe both.
That's a lot to unpack.
It is. The text leaves us grappling with that ambiguity, which I think is deliberate.
So it's forcing us to ask, how do we balance justice with compassion, even when something seems so wrong?
Yeah.
And are we letting our own biases cloud our judgment?
Excellent point. We might see the Amalekite as just seizing an opportunity, but we don't know his full story, what pressures he might have been under.
Maybe he thought he was doing Saul a favor, ending his suffering, or maybe he was terrified for his own life.
And saw this as his only way out.
It's possible. It's a powerful reminder that judging actions, especially from such a distance.
Or even in our own lives.
Exactly. It's rarely simple.
No, it's not.
There's always more to the story, right? Layers of complexity. And we need
Yeah.
to understand those layers before we judge.
So true. I mean, think about how often we rush to judgment, in our own lives even, without really getting the full picture.
It happens more than we'd like to admit. But going back to David, his actions here have big consequences for how he leads.
You mean how he becomes king?
Exactly. By executing the Amalekite, regardless of his reasons, David sends a message. He's a leader who upholds the throne, even when he's grieving.
Wow.
Sets the stage for his reign, shows strength, makes his claim to power.
So it's not just personal, it's political too.
Very much so. And remember, this is a world where leadership was seen as, divinely ordained.
Chosen by God.
Right. David, by avenging Saul's death, aligns himself with that. Shows respect for the established order.
It's amazing how this one event, killing the Amalekite, has all these ripple effects.
It really does. Both for David personally and for the bigger picture.
Totally. And that brings us to something else interesting in this story. The power of storytelling itself.
Oh, I like where you're going with this.
It's just the way this is told, the details, even what's left unclear about people's motives. It all shapes how we see these characters.
David, Saul, even the Amalekite, you're right. It's all part of the narrative.
And that narrative shapes how we understand what happened.
Exactly. And this isn't just ancient history. It's still true today.
Oh, yeah.
Think about how stories shape political narratives, public opinion, even how products are sold. We're flooded with stories, and those stories have power. They shape our worldviews.
It's a reminder to be careful,
Yeah,
right? Question what we're told. Look for different viewpoints.
absolutely. We need to be aware of how powerful stories are, how
Wow.
they can be used for good or for manipulation.
That's a great point. And speaking of stories, there's another big one here. David and Jonathan's
No,
friendship.
yes. Their bond is legendary, a testament to loyalty, to mutual respect.
They were rivals, in a way,
True.
competing for the throne.
True.
But their friendship seems to go beyond all that political stuff.
Jonathan's loyalty to David, even defying his own father, that's incredible. Speaks volumes about their connection.
It really does. Makes you think about your own friendships, right?
Mm.
Do we have that kind of loyalty? Would we stand up for our friends, even when it's hard?
It's a high standard, but they give us a powerful example. True connection can be transformative.
Yeah, and their story shows us that even in the middle of all this chaos and loss, connection can give us strength.
It reminds us to nurture those bonds, invest in relationships that give our lives meaning.
We need those people in our lives, the ones who stick with us no matter what.
Couldn't agree more. So, this ancient story has a timeless message. Cherish your friends.
And friendship itself. That's a good takeaway. But we're not done yet. The chapter ends with David's lament. The song of the bow, so powerful. Grieving these heroes.
Raw emotion speaks to how universal loss is and how important it is to honor the people we've lost.
It makes you think about how we grieve today, you know? Do we let ourselves feel it all? Mourn openly? Honestly?
It's a good question to ask ourselves. David's lament reminds us grief is natural, it's human, and expressing it, that can be healing.
It also reminds us to honor the memory of those we've lost. Not just remembering them, but their stories, letting those lives, shape ours.
Exactly. Their legacy lives on through us, the impact they had, the lessons they taught.
One detail really stood out to me. The battle happened on Mount Gilboa.
Ah, yes. Mount Gilboa, not just any location.
Right.
This was a high place, a place where the Israelites felt close to God.
So for Saul and his army to be defeated there, in this place that's supposed to be divinely protected.
Adds another layer of tragedy, doesn't it?
It really does. It makes you question things. Faith. God's presence when you're facing defeat, despair.
Big questions. How do we reconcile our beliefs with the harsh realities of life when everything feels like it's falling apart?
Yeah, tough stuff.
This story, I don't think it gives us easy answers, but it does encourage us to sit with that discomfort, to wrestle with those hard questions.
Do not shy away from them.
Exactly, because even heroes, people chosen by God, they experience doubt, pain, loss. It's part of the human experience.
And maybe in those moments when we're vulnerable, when we face our own limits, that's when we understand ourselves better and our place in the world.
Powerful thought. And it goes beyond time, culture, the human experience, the joy, the sorrow. We all share it.
That's what's so amazing about these ancient texts. They give us a window into the past, but they also help us understand ourselves now.
Yeah, in the world we live in.
So, as we wrap up our deep dive into 2 Samuel chapter 1, let's take a minute to think about what we've learned. Leadership, loyalty, justice, compassion, grief, the power of storytelling.
We've seen how this ancient story sheds light on human nature, on challenges we still face today.
And hopefully it's made us think about our own lives, our relationships, the stories that shape our view of the world.
It's been a fascinating journey, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. And this is just the beginning. There's always more to explore.
Keep questioning, keep seeking, keep diving deep. Until next time.